What's up, you guys? Welcome to episode 438 of the Established Run NBA podcast. I'm Mike Gallagher here with Saum Jafarinia to talk about the hottest team in basketball. They are motoring through the NBA with an 8-game winning streak, their first 8-game winning streak since 2008. It's the Detroit Pistons. We'll talk about how they're doing it, the big win they had last night against the Celtics, and how they stack up with the other teams vying for the 3, 4, and 5 seeds. With me to do so, again, Saum Jafarinia, the Hike Boys. I haven't been hiking in a while, but how's it going, man?
It's great. Yeah, it's interesting, if I told you before the season we'd be doing a pod in February talking about, how the Pistons are matched up in the playoffs, would have been a surprise to both of us, but
Mm-hmm.
speaks to what a special season they're having and excited to dive into it.
For sure. So they had their biggest win in a very, very long time. It should have been flexed to the ESPN game instead of the corpse of the Sixers losing at the Garden. But yeah, I just want to kind of talk about what they did last night and how they did it. And obviously, Cade was really good, but they won this game with defense, man. I looked up a couple stats here. The Celtics, they've gone 14-1 when they made more than 23s. The Warden lost last night. They had a season low 18 rim points, and they shot 43% from three. Usually we always say like the Celtics shoot 40% from three, you're dead. And they beat the brakes off them. Their defense was awesome, and like obviously I want to talk about Cade, but I thought like the player of the game to me was Asar Thompson. I thought Asar was so good, like clamping Tatum. He's been incredible. I did that matchups pod. He's been one of the best players in the NBA. Obviously, Amen's getting a lot of shine, but Asar's been incredible. And then their rim defense is really good too. But yeah, what did you see last night that was so impressive with this big win?
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up Asar because his like ascension and since he's been in the starting lineup has been,
Mhm.
just a game changer for them so much. You're talking about clamping down Tatum last night. He doing such a great job. In the game before that, he was doing the same thing with Harden, where they got another
Mhm.
big win. So if he continues this ascension and just continues clamping down like this, you can see what the Pistons look like when they're at, what they showed last game. So if he keeps this up, and then we're gonna get into others, but the team is so cohesive right now, and it feels like they have someone for exactly what they need at any time. So shout out to Asar, and I look forward to keep seeing how he keeps up this ascension.
Yeah, 42 points in the second half from the Celtics as well. It's their third lowest half of the season. The beatdown against the OKC was the other one, and then the game that laid an egg against the Warriors was the other two games below that. And then yeah, just more in the defense here. So they're during their 8-game winning streak, they're first in defensive rating, and then if you expand that out to this month, they're fourth in defensive rating, fourth in offensive rating, and then on the year, they are second in defensive rating. And I talked a lot about this in the content. Their defense is so legit. And my favorite stat, which we could get in a little bit in Jalen Duren, and I can't believe we're burying the lead on Cade Cunningham a little bit, but their defense is really the story for why they're winning, so kind of why we're leading here. But this year, they moved up to number 2 in rim points allowed per game. Last year, we were just jamming centers against them because they allowed the 7th most rim points in the NBA last year. They're second, man. The only team better than them is OKC. Jalen Duren's been awesome. Even like Tim Hardaway Jr. is defending, Malik's defending a little bit. I thought Ron Holland had a good defensive game. Like they've got so much length on the wing. Tobias Harris was good. Like they've got like JB Bickerstaff has his team so dialed in and playing with pace on offense and limiting pace on the other end too. Massive credit to JB. Massive credit to Jalen Duren. Just up and down the roster. Anybody you want to shout out for maybe why this defense has been so good?
Yeah, I think the Duran season has just been so incredible. And you talk about
Mm-hmm.
like the last few seasons where we're just picking on inside scores against Detroit just
Mm-hmm.
constantly, and like credit to him. And it's just like the rim protections there. His block numbers are by far the best of his career so far. And on the offensive end too for Duran, like he's been so good. He's shooting. He's doing his obviously like he's only around the rim, but he's shooting almost 70%. His passing ability, I think, has been really underrated throughout this entire thing. He's averaging more assists than he ever has with less turnovers than he did last season. And they're not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to like run offense through him. They'll throw it to him in the high post. He'll dribble it up the court at times. So Duran's ascension is just really something special. And it's still going. So big credit to him. And he's another one who really needs a shout out for how well he's been playing.
Yeah, it's a good transition to getting into Cade Cunningham now because a lot of times Cade gets blitzed a ton and he makes the right play to
Mm-hmm.
hit Duren on the short roll, and that's what set up this career high statistics for Duren in the passing situation. But Cade Cunningham, last time we talked about the Pistons, we were like, why is our offense so good? We'll talk about Malik Beasley in a second. But Cade's control of the game and ability to play against different coverages and just get downhill at will and turn the corner around the pick and roll game is so good. Cade is like we're to the point where like he might win Eastern Conference Player of the Month. He might make an All NBA nod. He's probably winning Most Improved Player because he's been that good. But really specifically with Cade, anything particular that's been jumping out to you on why he's been ascending to again like an All NBA kind of a player right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's not slowing down, and the offensive load, like he's taking on between his usage and assist rate, is so outrageous. But
Mhm.
it's just like you just always think they're getting a good shot, right? No matter what situation,
Mhm.
no matter how they're playing Cade, like he just has this ability where he's just always, whether it's himself or creating for others, like the Pistons are going to have like a good possession. I think if there's maybe one knock on him, you could say he's the turnovers up a lot, but when you have a 32% usage rate and almost 45% assist rate, like it's not surprising, but it's just his command of the offense right now is just super special. And especially since Ivy has gone down, he's really taken it up a notch,
Mhm.
and he just keeps going with it. So I think the thing that's most stuck out to me is just how polished it feels like all these possessions are for them. Where in the whole team, you can tell just has that confidence that like Cade is going to put us in the right spot. So just really really special season for him. Like, and you were just naming off all the accolades. I mean, just shout out to Cade. He's just been so great.
Yeah, it's going to probably be between him and Donovan Mitchell, I think, for Eastern Conference Player of the Month. I was kind of looking at that. But hey, if the Pistons keep winning, Cade's going to have better stats than Donovan is going to have. But
Hmm.
uh, also, just to one other point to kind of bring it all together here, their starting lineup this month has played more minutes together than anybody in the NBA, and they're plus 21.6 in net rating among the 14 lineups with 60 minutes or more. Only two are better than that. The Cavs, 43.1 net rating, and then the Nuggets starters are plus 28.5 as well, and it's much smaller sample. They've got a 158-minute sample here, so really big sample. They've been crushing, and then I want to bring this to Malik Beasley. I mean, Peyton Pritchard, the favorite for sixth man of the year. Like, did he close a gap last night? And really quick quote from JB Bickerstaff because he does the little shimmy, right? He said that he said JB Bickerstaff said that Malik Beasley's ruining the younger generation because he said his son is like doing the shimmy after he hits the 3-pointers. But man, Malik Beasley's been on fire, just making threes in massive volume. I mean, he might win it, man. I mean, if the Pistons keep winning, people are going to want to give it to Malik Beasley. But yeah, how is Malik Beasley doing this? Kind of giving the Pistons a hometown discount, and again, it's been top 3 or 4 for sure, six-man player of the year.
I mean, absolutely. And it's funny talking to Shimmy. It's like, when you're watching, I don't think anyone right now maybe has the like as quick a trigger right now as Malik Beasley. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you watch a couple possessions in a row and if he's got like any space around him, he's having both hands up saying like, give it to
Yep.
me. And if he doesn't get it a couple of times after that, the next one's going up. But credit to him, right? I mean, he should have that freedom to chuck like he is. I mean, he's shooting 42% from three with this insane volume. And right now he's leading
Mhm.
the league in 3-pointers made per 100 possessions right now. Curry's the only one that's even close to him. Like, this season he's having is really incredible. And they signed him to a 1-year $6 million
Mhm.
contract. This was not in the cards at all. So just, I mean, shout out to him for not only just the efficiency but the volume to go along with it. It's been really eye opening. And yeah, you're talking about for 6-man of the year. I think Pritchard still probably has a decent leg on him, but a couple more performances like he did last night, and I don't think he's that far off. So I mean, shout out to him. And I mean, it's been it's such a huge boon for them off the bench to have that kind of shooting and somebody who has that kind of confidence.
Yeah, he's at 5 3-pointers made this month. Like the Knicks and the Magic as an entire team only have double that. They have under 10. And he's not playing, 240 minutes to like what 26. It's just insane. So yeah, I mean he's been great. But I don't know, man. Like I just want to give JB Bickerstaff more of a shout. The fact that it's kind of hilarious that like Kenny Atkinson's gonna probably win Coach of the Year, and then who took JB Bickerstaff's job, and now JB Bickerstaff's probably like gonna finish second if this keeps coming here. But like, just the scheme's been really good. He just has these guys so dialed in. I don't know, man. I just want to give him a shout out. I enjoy his pressers as well. I think he has a really good informative pressers as well. But these young kids are stepping up, and we mentioned Asar just being able to make such an impact like so quickly. I thought, like I mentioned, Ron Holland, Tobias Harris. Like imagine people wanted Tobias Harris out of town in Philly, and now they're like, oh, we want him back instead of Paul George and Podcast P. But yeah, anything for like down the line or JB Bickerstaff that you wanted to shout out, or anybody that we haven't talked about yet? Tim Hardaway Jr. And Beef Stew has been great too. Shout out to Beef Stew.
Yeah, I mean, just on the JBs. I mean, this season is such a special turnaround where it goes from,
Mm-hmm.
Pistons are live for the play-in, and then wow, they're
Mm-hmm.
they're going to avoid the play-in. They got the 6 seed lock in, and now it's like, well, are they going to be hosting a playoff series? I mean, it just keeps getting better and better for them. They're showing no signs of stopping, and yeah, just big credit to him, and this worked out so well. And I think only anyone else I'd want to shout is Ron Holland, who
Mhm,
I think for playoff hopes or anything is probably not on the cards. He's a rookie, he's only 19, but when he's out there, man, he's just making things happen.
mhm.
It's very chaotic. There's still a lot of growth that needs to be made, but it's just when he's out there, I'm liking what I'm seeing, and it just feels like he's just active. He's got energy, and he plays in these short stints because, of course, we were talking about how
Yeah,
much depth they have and what's ahead of him. But when he comes in, he's ready to contribute. So that's another kind of. I mean, they're competing now, but in the future, I think they have something to be excited about with rookie Ron Holland.
for sure. But yeah, and then do you think that so I guess let's get into like what are the chances that they get the 4 seed, right? Like
Mhm.
it's legit. Like we're past. Like they've got the 6 seed. It's over.
Yep.
That's the first question. Is it over? They've got the 6 seed, right? Like worst case.
Absolutely, yeah. I think 6 seed is probably is worst case scenario for sure right
Yep,
now.
yep, for sure. And then looking at their schedule, they've got some tough games coming up. They've got a big one against Denver coming up. Denver will be on a back to back. That'll help a little bit. But then they get Brooklyn, Utah, at the Clippers. Here's the tough part: at Clippers, at Warriors, at Portland, Washington, Thunder, Pelicans, at Miami, at Dallas. So it's getting pretty tough. They got a Cleveland game in there, Minnesota game in there. They get Milwaukee twice. They get Milwaukee twice to end the year. That's going to be a huge game. But yeah, their schedule is tough. So I don't know, man. I think that I mean, with the
Yeah.
momentum they have, and we'll talk about the teams that they're going to compete with in a second. But I don't know. I think they're going to probably finish at fifth at this point, maybe fourth.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would if I had bet, I'd probably take them to pass Milwaukee right now with what they're going
Hmm.
through and the Bobby Portis suspension. Indiana, credit to them, they've been great when they've
Yeah,
been fully healthy. But yeah, I mean, they're certainly making a push for it. And like, I mean, these wins are really impressive. I mean, the Boston, you can say yesterday missing Jalen or whatever, but like Boston was crushing teams
yeah.
coming into that game. Like they were playing really well, and so yeah, I'm really optimistic and on where they can push up from here. I think 4 through 6 is probably a lock at this point, and you
Hmm.
know I mean, I think 4 is definitely in the cards. And one guy we haven't talked about, interestingly enough, is Jaden Ivey,
Yeah.
he's been out for a few months out. And how does he fit in? Does he fit in when he comes back? I think that's maybe one storyline to keep in the back pocket. But I'm not really sure, especially with the acquisition of Dennis Schroeder now, where Ivy fits into this when it just seems right now they have such a good thing going. But look, it's a good problem to have. They've been great and excited to see how they keep going down the stretch.
Yeah, Ivy's been doing some stuff. He's off crutches, but he's still out another like at least a half month. So he'll be out for mostly the regular season. But hey, they're playoff bound. Dink
Hmm.
was on it early. He said that he shouted out a plus 400 playoff odds like about a month and a half ago, and that's just figure out how you want to spend that money at this point. But yeah, the Knicks. Just to kind of shift gears a little bit here, the Knicks have a pretty good grip on the number 3 seed, but they've really struggled here, and
Mm.
it's like basically started setting up where they could play the Knicks in the first round. If it kind of broke where it was Pistons versus Knicks, like how would you handicap that from a minus 250 kind of a thing for the Knicks? Like, do you think that there's a pretty good chance that the Pistons, with as well as they're playing, and Mitch Robinson will return? But how do you think that the Pistons could stack up against the Knicks if they get them in the first round?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually thinking about that, just what a playoff series, odds would look like. And I got it in that like minus 250, minus 300 range was my first thought. But I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, I wouldn't want to bet on the Knicks at
Mm-mm.
those odds against this Pistons team, right? The Pistons are not going to be afraid of them at all. And you're talking like about the Knicks have been struggling lately and all. And, Tibbs is still pushing these guys to the max, right? And here we are. And
Mhm.
OG, who's, cat missed yesterday, OG's been in and out of the lineup. And Tibbs puts him right back 40 plus minutes for that comeback win, or not comeback, I should say, to stave off the Philadelphia 76ers last night. But yeah, in a
Mhm.
playoff matchup, I mean, I would still pick the Knicks and would feel okay about it. Certainly wouldn't want to, bet on them at any heavy odds or anything.
Yeah.
But look, the Pistons have answers for what the Knicks are going to want to do to them. So I
Mhm.
certainly would have Detroit against really except the top 2 seeds. I would have Detroit, pretty competitive against any of these guys. I'm trying to think. Who do you think they would ideally want to see in the first round out of these three?
I think Indiana.
Think
I
so?
think yeah, I think just their ability to play in with rim protection. Indiana likes to get in the paint. Having an elite on-ball defender and Asar, and then they usually it's interesting. They usually put Asar on Pascal when they've been playing this season, but I won't be
Hmm.
surprised if they flip that because Halliburton's kind of cooking now. At least you have
Yeah.
Tobias there. So I don't know. I think that you don't want to play Giannis, and I don't know. The Knicks are still playing pretty well. That said, though, the Knicks defense is a problem, man. Like they're
Yeah.
26th in half court defense on the year. So we've got a pretty good sample here of the Knicks being really bad defensively. They get killed all day on ball handlers, and like that's bad matchup for them with Cade. So like it sounds insane, but like if I'm the Pistons, I'd rather play the Pacers than I'd rather play the Knicks than the
Ooh.
Bucks. If that's a hot take or not, I don't know. I think they match up really well because the Knicks like to get inside. They really kill on the boards, and the Pistons are one of the best teams in the NBA at limiting rebounding. So their strengths really match up well. And like you said, if this breaks out where it's a 3-6 matchup, and you give me like Pistons, plus 200, I'm taking the Pistons. I think the Pistons have, I'd probably call it like a, I think like a 40% chance to win the series against the Knicks, which is I know it's a hot take, but I don't know, man. I've really been buying. And if you're going to be the number
Yeah.
2 defense, when your schedule's not that soft, like they've had a pretty tough, not like tough, but they've had like some good teams here. And you do what you did to Boston last night. Yes, I know Jaylen Brown didn't play, but like they've consistently shown to be a top 5 defense, and the Knicks have not. Defense travels, and they could kind of win different ways. And I don't know, man. Like obviously, Cade has to be healthy for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
I think Mitch Robinson coming back could be a big thing. We'll see when that happens. But the Knicks, Josh Hart's playing through injury. Jalen Brunson, again, they run these guys into the ground. So I don't know. Like I said, if you give me plus 200, I'm taking the Pistons.
Absolutely. And I mean, the way Cade's playing too, I mean, at the end of a close playoff game now, I got about as much faith in Cade as you would
Mm-hmm.
anyone to just get good shots and, put the offense in a position to succeed. So all those points you make, yeah, it makes sense. And really any of those teams are going to avoid the top 2 seeds, of course. I mean, I don't think the Pistons are going to be, necessarily afraid or anything like that. So I think you make a lot of great points on the Knicks matchup with that defense really struggling. And, we'll see. We'll see if they do stick around the 6, but I think the Pistons right out of the way, they're looking like they're not necessarily going to angle any way, in the standings right now. They're just going to keep crushing.
For sure. Then want to switch to the Pacers here. Anything you want to add on the Knicks that you've seen? I mean, got to shout out Jalen Brunson really quick. I don't want to leave him out. Just so good in
Yeah.
the clutch. Again, just like kind of save the Knicks. Again, like the guy, I haven't looked at the Clutch Player of the Year award, but like Brunson's got a pretty good chance to win that. It feels like they just count on him all the time down the stretch. But yeah, Cat banged up. Nice win, I guess, against the Sixers.
Yeah.
But where are you at on them? Like, so have you done any best ball drafts really quick or no?
I have not. I haven't gotten really into playoff
Okay.
streaks yet. But
Yeah, so I've been like mostly not taking Knicks. I don't know if they've got the juice because I mean, night after night when they face the Cavs and they face the Celtics, when they face these high end teams, they airball every time.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It sounds like crazy, but I don't really think they have much of a chance to kind of get out of it because they're gonna have to beat the Celtics in the second round, assume. And then they're
Yeah.
gonna have to beat the Cavs again. Like the odds that they get through both of them is like so far to me. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on like how they stack up? Is like it sounds insane. Like I think the Bucks maybe almost have as good of a chance as the Knicks do, just because I think Giannis is just and Dame too is on another level.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
would you stack up? What like 5%, 10% of getting out of the East?
yeah, I mean, I share your pessimism just in general. But as far as like the East, I mean, I think Boston, Cleveland are pretty
Mhm.
in a tier of their own ahead of them. Look, I mean, like with Brunson and Cat, like if they're playing at their A game, I mean, I think really they can put them in good spots to be a leader or anything. But when you're watching them, I mean, it's just not the most inspiring basketball, and they're just the
Mhm.
consistency is just I feel like it's just never there, right? And especially when we see it against these high end teams, and like how many games do we see now where McHale is just, especially in these big games, where
Mhm.
he's just like a ghost out there. You know what I mean? He's just not contributing at all, and it becomes so Brunson centric. And it's like, yeah, I mean, look, with the Brunson and Cat, I think that, look, there's enough there where they're always going to be in contention and all. But besides the 2 of them, I mean, Hart's going to give you a lot of good minutes and everything, but they don't seem to have a lot of trust in the depth outside of them. And Mitch Robb, who supposed is going to be back eventually and maybe can give them something, help with that defense that's been struggling. I'm not too optimistic about how they would really
Mhm.
compete against the top of the East. So I share your pessimism in general.
Yeah, here's a stat I just looked up. Among top 10 teams in point differential, guess where the Knicks rank on defense?
Top 10, what, 9 or 10?
No, on defense, their defensive rating out of 30, out of 30. So like every team in good top
Oh,
10 defenses. I'll just tell you, last.
that's not good.
They're
Okay.
dead last against top 10 teams That's a problem, man. They can't like, and interestingly enough, the rebounding is down. It's a problem, man. Like they're getting killed all the time. So I don't know. Like they're gonna face for sure. Probably maybe three. Maybe the Pistons might be. They might have to face like three top 10 teams in a row, and they've shown they're the worst team in the NBA against them this year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got concerns, man. I don't know. So I'm kind of a Knicks hater right now. Sorry, shout out Gary Hartman, shout out all the Knicks fans out there, but I don't know. It's to be dead last, man. I mean, the freaking Sixers are better than them. So yeah. Anything else you want to close out on the Knicks?
No, just yeah, we'll see if they can really put together. But there's a lot of reasons for concern right now, even with them seemingly locking up the third seed.
Yep. And then let's talk about the Pacers really quick. A couple nice wins. The win against the Clippers was really nice. They did get beat pretty bad by the Nuggets. Nice little win against the Raptors last night. Halliburton cooking. The best ball bags like the Pacers. We've got a lot of Pacers for best ball there. But what have you been seeing from the Pacers? Who've been playing a little bit better? Aaron Nesmith minutes have been pretty solid. They've been getting pretty good minutes out of Andrew Nembhard. They did have a couple smaller injuries to TJ McConnell, but the Pacers look pretty legit. Certainly don't think they're live to win it again or to get cut to the final. But anything you've seen out of the Pistons to kind of give you some optimism there?
Yeah, it really starts with Tyrese Halliburton, right? Where he still has the the inconsistencies that starting from the second half of last season that we were coming on. But man, when he's cooking the way he is and controlling the offense, I mean, like this is as fun of offense and like elite as really it gets. They were at the beginning of the season it was they were dealing with a lot of injuries. The rotation was kind of in flux in a lot of ways, but since Nesmith has come back, especially since he's been in the starting lineup and they've kind of they showed some consistency. You gotta be pretty encouraged by what you see. I'm with you. I don't think really the high end outcomes are there for them with this team as constructed, but like as long as they're healthy, like the offense is rolling and they got enough where I feel pretty good they'll be able to stick around where they are. And I just think a lot of the reasons we saw in the playoffs last year of what can't hold, probably see again. But it's all going to come down, I think, to the play of Tyrese Halliburton. And if he's going to keep playing like he does or he has like the last few games, puts him in a good position, but generally still don't see the high end outcomes here.
Yeah, if he plays like this, they are live, I would say. Of the 89 players with 30 plus minutes after the break per game, he's first in true shooting. 83.8 true shooting percentage. Number 2 on the list, Davion Mitchell, interestingly enough.
Wow.
Trade.
That's not expected.
Interesting name to see on there. Just some other names. It's fun. Walker Kessler, Jamal Murray, Zach LaVine, Derek White, Josh Giddey, crushing post break.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the Bucks. Obviously, Giannis off the calf. He's been kind of coming around here. Damian Lillard hit some big shots, playing pretty well. But they don't have Bobby Portis basically for the rest of the regular season here. Tough, man. I mean, you're asking a lot of Brook Lopez. I keep joking before the break. Brook Lopez was the I need the break more than anyone all-star. Do you think that they've got enough? Are you seeing enough out of Jericho Sims, Kyle Kuzma, a lot of AJ Green minutes, anything from the Bucks that you've been seeing to make them think that they could, give the Cavs a run for their money? They're almost certainly playing the Cavs in the first, unless they fall to 6. But yeah, anything you see from the Bucks so far?
I mean, it's hard to really say because we haven't particularly seen what this team looks like, at full strength following this Kyle Kuzma trade where he gets traded first, and then Dame and Giannis have been hurt, and Giannis still kind of working through this minutes restriction. Then Bobby gets suspended, so it's a team kind of in flux in a way right now, and we'll see. I think this Bobby injury is really going to be devastating from the perspective, like you were saying with Brook, where he just they're pushing him to the max so much, and this is not a guy you want to keep pushing like this through the regular season. And Bobby was, supposedly supposed to help with this regular season. That was also part of the reason of getting Kuzma, where he can absorb more minutes and stuff. But it just feels like, I mean, almost this regular season is just like a drag on them, where they don't have a ton of depth behind these main guys, and these main guys are just not holding up like you'd want. So look, you got Dame and Giannis. I mean, if they can get there healthy when it's go time, I mean, you're always going to give them a chance. But going forward from right now, I think you got to have some concerns just health wise and roster wise.
Yeah, I think they're the classic high ceiling, low floor situation. Just because if anything, if one of the wheels, if they get a flat tire, the whole car is going to fall apart. It's that bad. And Giannis, calf injuries are seriously a problem. I'm dealing with one right now. I'm still not right. And then Dame's got a hamstring. And then just got no depth, man. If one of those guys is down, it's going to be so ugly. They've been kind of hanging around, but Gary Trent's been playing pretty well. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I said, I feel pretty good about their ceiling. I'm not taking a lot of them in best ball. I don't know. I just have so much confidence in the Cavs and the Celtics there. Do you want to hit the Magic or anybody else? I don't. I think they're dead. Like a hashtag our Magic have
Yeah,
been terrible. They just can't. They can't score,
it's
man. Anything you
yeah.
want to just add on them, and then we could talk about Miami to wrap up too. I don't even really want to talk about them. They're so
Yeah,
frustrating.
it just on Orlando, yeah, it's just same thing. It just the offense is just so uninspiring, and unfortunately, a lot of conversations we've had in the past about the Magic are here now, where they're still fighting for the divisional bets right now for regular season,
Yep.
but
Yep.
that's unfortunately all about positive for the Magic. So no, a lot of that early season optimism they haven't at least lately as constructed now. Maybe we'll see when Suggs comes back to give him a spark, but really it comes down to I don't think there's enough offense here to really compete.
Yeah, I mean, Powell's shooting a ton.
Yeah,
He's
it's
first in
just
post break usage at 35.7%, but they're not scoring, man. Like, I wonder how that
mhm.
stacks up. That's actually not last. I could move up the number a little bit, but they're only 100.4 offensive rating with Powell on the floor. It's just been gross,
It's
man, and they play so slow. Go ahead.
yeah. It's just everything looks so hard for them, right? Like, there's just
Yeah,
never any easy shot. There's never any like, it just every possession just feels like like, they gotta they gotta push to the max just to get any,
yeah.
like, decent shots. So it's tough, and I think, the question I think offseason is they gotta really think, how are they gonna fix this offense? Because that's constructed right now. This isn't gonna
Yeah.
lead to anything, thing. But look, long term, still optimistic on, the crew and how they can, improve. But for this season, I think, unfortunately, it's probably not much there.
For sure. With you there. I mean, Miami's. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about him. Terry Rozier's dead. So let's kind of bring it all together here, and Let's tie in the Celtics. Let's tie in the Cavs. How would
Mhm.
you kind of run this down if you're kind of ranking? Who comes out of the East? We didn't talk much about the Celtics and Cavs. We talked plenty about them this year. But do you have the Celtics ahead of the Cavs, or how would you kind of if you had to rank who's going to come out of the East? How would you go for it?
I think right now I would still put Boston first. They've shown just enough, I think, this year so far that I'm still like, when it comes down to it, I'm going to trust them to come through. But I mean, Cleveland is about as close as you can be right now in second, and I think those two are pretty far and away their own tier. And then after that, I think three through it's probably just bunched up between
Yeah.
Knicks, Bucks, Pistons, Pacers. I think I would have in that order. I would have Knicks 3, Bucks 4.
hmm
Maybe Pistons 5 ahead of the Pacers? I
Yeah.
don't know. That one I have to think through
That sounds
more, but
insane, right?
yeah, that's I'm thinking through it, like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I think that's how I would have the order, and then basically just, what I have, Pacers or Pistons ahead, and not sure about that, but, I
Yeah.
think kinda says about the Pistons is we're talking about how they're shaping up in the top of the East. It's pretty wild, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's how I would break it down.
Yeah, I'd still give Boston the edge. It's close though. I mean,
Mhm.
that series is going to go
Yep.
deep. We're going to see that. We're going to see that on Friday, by the way.
I love
Cavs
it.
Celtics on Friday, so that'd be a really fun game. Should note too, Kenny Atkinson was really talking that game up, and they want to win that game really bad. So, we'll be talking about that on DFS show. I think they're going to play pretty tight minutes, but yeah, I still give Boston the edge. I mean, give them the benefit of the
Mhm.
doubt. The Cavs have generally been underperforming in the playoffs with this group. The Jared Allen quote, "The lights were too bright," all that. Um, and then I mean they barely beat the
Yeah,
Magic, 7 game
yeah.
series. I'm taking Milwaukee third. Like I said, if you can't
Oh,
beat
ahead of the
top,
Knicks. Oh,
I
okay.
mean like that I'm rolling with that stat, man. Like you're dead last
Oh,
against
okay,
top 10
nice.
teams. Like that's a problem, and it's been a problem all
Yep.
year. And I don't have confidence they're going to stay healthy. Obviously, same concerns for Bucks, and then the Knicks. Then a pretty big gap. I don't really think anybody else. I don't like as fun as the Pistons are, but I don't know, man. I'm going to be a prisoner of the moment.
Yeah.
I think that Cade Cunningham's playing better than uh Halliburton's playing. I think Cade Cunningham's a better player. If Halliburton keeps playing like this, then maybe I'd change my tune. But Duran, Miles Turner, Wash. But yeah, Asar's a better defender than Nembhard is, that's for sure. And I
Mhm.
think that having Asar, we saw them beat the Celtics. So yeah, I don't know. I think I take the Pistons ahead of those guys, and then it's all out. But yeah, anything else you want to mention here to anything else Eastern Conference that's on your mind?
Nothing particular. No, I mean, the season, it's kind of, it's really condensed. I think as season kind of just what a fun season this has been for the
hmm
Pistons. I mean, last season going from, I mean, as down bad as you could be, right? I
hmm
mean, it just felt just so hopeless and everything. And now, I mean, just really cool to see, and I'm really excited to keep seeing how it keeps playing out. And just one more shout out to Asar of like, he had
Yep.
a strange off season, strange start to the season with the blood clot and all, but he's come back and he just keeps every game. He just shows something new. And I mean, we can talk the defense and everything, and he still has a lot of growth on the offensive end, but he's showing, some signs here and there. He had a nice crossover on Tim the other day, or last game, and he's getting the free throw line more. So just, Asar has been a really fun player, and I look forward to keep seeing how he keeps developing through these last couple months of the regular season.
Yep. They are 33-26. They lost 28 straight games last year. So it's pretty crazy, man. I mean,
28 is like,
yeah,
well, yeah.
it's
Get out
Monty
loud.
Williams. I mean, maybe Bickerstaff has to win Most Improved. I'm sorry, Coach of the Year, but yeah, I think Cade's gonna win Most Improved for sure. Yeah,
Keeps
but
making
before we
the
wrap
case.
out of here, definitely want to shout out the products and all that stuff. We're still grinding away on props, turning the tide a little bit. We've had a couple good games here with the props. Still grinding out DFS. Had some pretty big hits. Think had some hits. Had some subs. Had some big nights. Check us out at establishedrun.com/NBA. Check out the subscribe tab. Still doing the injury show, writing matchups despite my illnesses out there for you guys. So appreciate everyone listening, and we'll catch you guys next time.